Unfortunately, that's something that you have to be mindful of and aware that these things are happening. It gets scary.
I feel like a lot of people are kind of concerned about it, but it happens often, I feel like, as sad as that is to say.
Watch for what's happening around me.
It's a little scary to think about it because it's like you don't know who it is. The guy, he's wearing a hoodie, he got glasses on. You don't know who to look out for. It's just you're walking, trying to enjoy your day, and then boom, some random guy is going to just punch you in the face.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Today's video is about a disturbing pattern of incidents that are rocking New York City. Random attacks on women. Before we proceed, let me state unequivocally that I condemn this reprehensible behavior. As a man with female relatives and the possibility of one day having a daughter, I am deeply troubled by the thought that anyone could experience such violence. In this video, I want to shed light on key information that we men should be aware of. Let's talk about it. We men ain't we? Yeah. We men ain't we? Yeah.
These women were all sucker punched by strangers on the streets of New York. We've told you how there's been an epidemic of these attacks. Now, for the first time, we've brought together several of the victims. They didn't know each other before today, but as Allison reports, they now share a bond.
These young women are part of a sisterhood they'd rather not be members of. One by one, they came to the Inside Edition newsroom and introduced themselves.
I'm Allison. Hi, Allison. Nice to meet you.
We brought together Quinn, Marissa Herbert, Allison Hager, and Anika Hartje after they became victims of the sucker punch epidemic that's hit New York. Allison says she still flinches at the recollection of being sucker punched a month ago.
And that pain would come back, like almost like a ghost pain would come back, and just, it was terrifying.
First of all, let's clarify a fundamental point. Not all men are responsible for these reprehensible attacks. It is essential to understand that this behavior is committed by a specific group of individuals and should never be generalized to all men.
So what do we know about the person that was arrested?
Well, he is a repeat offender, according to the police. He has an extensive criminal record. He's been arrested 3 times in the last 6 months for similar crimes. He is what the police call a recidivist. And I've had conversations not just about this spate of crimes, but also about what's going on the subway. And it's one of the largest concerns right now in the NYPD. They are arresting the same people for the same crimes over
and they're getting out of jail and attack.
So if you are looking at this and feel burdened by a sense of responsibility, I want to reassure you that you are not to blame for the actions of these perpetrators. Now let's take it a step further in the next clip.
Anika is a model. This is her at a Louis Vuitton fashion show. The glamour of that video is a stark contrast to this gritty footage showing the moment she was attacked in broad daylight.
I could sense on my right side that someone was quickly approaching from the other side of the street, and I had literally 1 second to look, and then I got punched in the side of my head right here.
Because of YouTube guidelines, we had to blur the punch itself, but we can still analyze what happens immediately after. Watch. As you can see, she starts running away quickly after the punch. Good. This reaction is entirely appropriate. She wisely chooses not to engage with the attacker. This is exactly what I would advise my own daughter to do if she found herself in a similar situation. These attacks make women feel not only a target, but also vulnerable, as they often lack the means to defend themselves. Perpetrators take advantage of this vulnerability because they are well aware that many women are unable to physically confront them. None of these women fought back like the Woman King. It's unrealistic. It's disheartening to see that while modern society often ignores the biological differences between men and women, these differences are abundantly clear in situations such as this, where women are at a physical disadvantage. Now pay attention to how the authorities respond to these alarming incidents.
The troubling stories surfacing at the same time there has been a rash of violent crimes on the city's busy subways. In response, the National Guard has been brought in to search bags, and 1,000 additional NYPD officers are now riding the trains too.
Did you catch that? It's a fact that the National Guard doesn't deploy women on the front lines. And there's a reason behind it. When crap hits the fan, men step up to handle the situation. Law enforcement, the backbone of maintaining order, is primarily enforced by men. And as you've just witnessed, when someone breaks the law, accountability follows, often with the use of force as a necessary component. Feminism always loses when it's time to talk about biology. However, it's not solely the responsibility of law enforcement to ensure women's safety.
What can women do? What can we do to protect ourselves while walking in a big city or anywhere for that matter?
Yeah, I just want to say it's the perception, even though violent crime is down in the United States and probably in New York, women who are being attacked, they don't feel that way. So here's what I'm telling my friends who live in New York. Women are being taken unawares. So you want to make sure that you're alert. Stay off your phones, stay aware of what's happening around you. If possible, walk in groups, walk with another person. And some women may not be making reports to the police because they're embarrassed or they're like, oh, this is something minor. But they really do need to make the reports because we don't know if there are suspects that have been developed by NYPD. They are really kind of short on details. But the more information that they have, the more likely it is that they can stop this crime trend.
I don't think women can stay off their phones. However, we do live in the safest time ever, which is why it's shocking for modern women to take measures to be safe, when in the past, this was the norm. If this continues to happen, women will be looking for men to help them, especially those with a black belt in simp jutsu. Fellas, don't practice simp jutsu. I was talking about protecting my family. I was not talking about looking for female validation. Protect your loved ones.
Marissa was on a subway platform when it happened to her.
I'm pretty tough, but it brought tears to my eyes. It was a hard slap. I kind of felt like, did I imagine that? And then I woke up and I saw the bruise and I was like, oh, it did happen.
You got bruised from being slapped?
Yeah.
That's a hard slap. There are now dozens of women coming out saying that this has happened to them. What's your reaction to seeing that this is happening to other women?
It is actually so comforting just hearing each of your stories and say, okay, we felt this, but we can get through it and we'll bring attention to it and help other women who are also struggling with this as well.
All these women, members of a sisterhood they never wanted to belong to.
No woman wants to feel scared walking down the street.
As you can see, when something happens that's hurting people, people come together to share their stories, look for solutions, and offer support. Why? Because we don't want this to happen again. That's why it's not a problem to be in this male space, because many men have been hurt, lost their children, lost their freedom, lost their jobs, careers, and even their lives. Our voices need to be heard. We need to share our stories, share our solutions, and show our support. Why? Because we don't want what happened to us to happen to others. We men, ain't we? Shit.
A woman on TikTok has been compiling all the recent videos of women who were sucker punched in New York. It's now up to 43.
Patreon supporters, salute! Man, that's where we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.